let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. You're here for awesome keybinds, and I'm here to give them to you. And the first thing that I'm going to give you is a free mute button for this.
You didn't see anything, did you?
What kind of shit is that?
And no, I'm not talking about going into your settings and turning your master volume to 0. I'm talking about key binding, that whole process, in one fell swoop. All you have to do is replace the word key with any key on your keyboard that you want to use. The metal shards that happen, aka gibs when you break barrels, is super annoying and really laggy. You want to get rid of those? I got you covered. Just remember you have to press this key every time you go in game, but don't put it in yet because we're going to add some stuff to it to make it even better. This command will even bypass the shards of metal that come off of doors when you raid. It's awesome. Auto running is a necessity in Rust. Need a bind for it? I got you. Just remember if you want to stop running to hold shift and hit W. Want a bind so that you can automatically swim while you go to the restroom so you can be refreshed for when you rat people at oil rig? Yeah, I got you there too. It's the same bind as auto run, you just add jump at the end. Even though I recommend having a manual toggle flashlight bind, I still have one so that when I right click, it automatically comes on. This is great as it removes that second step from PvP, and you can get the surprise on your enemies. In my next video where I talk about weapon sprays, we're going to add more to this bind, but for now, this will do you just fine. You ever wish that you could just med yourself with the click of one button? Well, with this bind, now you can. You can replace the word key with any key on your keyboard or mouse button that you want. I recommend that you use mouse 3. Slot 5 just corresponds to the 5th slot on my hotbar. Feel free to change that as well. The only thing that plus attack does is tell the game to click or use the thing that is in that slot. You ever get hit by an arrow, start bleeding, and just wish that you could craft a bandage really fast without having to stop and go into your crafting queue? It took me a couple thousand hours, but I found out that you can. All you gotta do is use this bind. What this command is doing is telling the game to add a bandage to your crafting queue. That big number, yeah, that's the item ID for a bandage. Do you remember how I said we were gonna add more to this bind later? Well, we're gonna do it right now. Because let's face it, getting good FPS is great. But getting bad FPS near areas like safe zones or huge bases sucks.
This sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks.
So let's fix it. Just add everything in yellow to the maxgibs command from before. It'll freeze you when you first use it because it's clearing a lot of garbage from the game, but that's okay, it goes away. Let me ask you something. If you could pick which hand that you used in Rust, which would you use? Right? Or left?
Right. Or left. Right-handed!
Sorry, Patrick. I'm ambidextrous.
Now with these keybinds, you don't have to choose one over the other. You can choose to use both. Bullet impacts on the wall can be a really valuable asset in Rust because it allows you to see your misses. The problem occurs when you fire a lot at a single target and all those bullet impacts just get in the way. But what if I told you that you could get rid of the impacts and combine it with your reload key? Now that would be awesome, right? Well, now you can, on demand, whenever you feel like it, without getting in the way of your reload. Not that long ago, Facepunch decided to change the default view model. It went from being like this to be more like this. And for some people, that's good. That's a great thing. Makes your crosshair a little larger. But it just messes my aim up. So if you want to go back to the way Rust used to look with your default view model, use this command. But if you'd like to bind both and see what works best for you, here's a keybind to make it so your view model is the more modern style. It's not enough to just be a good sprayer while you're standing still in Rust. There's way more to the game than that. There's tracking targets. There's moving and strafing while long range. But you should also be able to do a 180 flick comfortably in Rust. But you don't have to sacrifice your low sensitivity that you enjoy just to be able to turn around comfortably. Nah. God Rust has helped us solve this issue with a command that he released in his aim train video. And that command looks something like this. But this command is probably going to look pretty confusing to you at first, so let me break it down really quick. Mouse 1 just means right click. All plus light toggle does is tell your game to turn on your flashlight or laser when you right click. Attack 2 just tells the game to aim down your sights. Input sensitivity 0.475 is my sensitivity for when I'm just looking around, when I'm not right clicking. And that number should change for you because your sensitivity won't be the same as mine. Remember that you should not put a space after each red semicolon. Input sensitivity 0.15 is my aim down sight sensitivity. Take some time, play around with these numbers. These numbers are all just going to depend on you and your aim training. But we'll get more into that in my next video about aim training. So I'm curious, have you guys ever run into a situation like, well, like this?
I was walking down the street when out the corner of my eye I saw a pretty little thing approaching me.
And then after you spot the guy in the ocean, he decides to do this. But you don't care if he tries to throw his loot into the ocean because you watch Supra and he taught you how to find that loot. Fair warning, this next edit, well, it shows scenes of flashing, so if you're sensitive to that, you might want to look away. Now, you might be wondering why my screen is flickering, and, well, that's because the commands that I'm about to show you are for finding stuff under the water, and you need to use both of these commands to be able to see it. If you're watching this video sometime into the future, this might be patched, but as of right now, it's not, so here you go. Now, it is my firm belief that honesty is the best policy. So in all honesty, this next glitch / keybind, it kind of bothers me a little bit. I hope they remove this from the game, and I'm only showing it so they remove it. Some of these have been patched out of the game, but this one hasn't. This one is so OP, you can even shoot rockets through it. You can even shoot through it both ways. But if the other person doesn't know this, then they won't be able to. Now, normally, you can't really see through this, but if you have this bind, you can. Now, if I did help you learn something new, be sure to let me know, @SuproTV on Twitter. If you like watching TikToks on your phone, check me out on TikTok. Or if you'd like my settings, I have all my configs and settings available on my Discord. You can also talk to me there. I look forward to seeing you guys there. And until next time, my name is Supra, and I hope you enjoyed the video.